I think on one of these next calls, if you guys want to, I'll give you guys a little tour of the Loft Entrepreneur Co-Workspace that I started a year ago. I briefly mentioned it on our call last week, but that's where I'm at right now. I'm in my office, and it's a killer space. It's 8,000 square feet. We've got a bar in here, a lounge, a boardroom, ping pong table, 14 offices. Awesome spot. We have, I think there's 11 companies that work out of here now that rent from me. So if you guys want to, push in the little questions panel, hit a quick yes, I'd like to see it. And on our call next week, I might take like a little video tour. I'll walk the laptop through the office and show you guys it, 'cause it's pretty cool. Awesome. But yeah, the crazy thing is, like, before we dive into the actual content here, it's 4 o'clock now on my end, but awesome guys, Steve and Jimmy. Yeah, well, I'll do that next week, and as long as the Wi-Fi will stay with me, I'll take the computer around and show you guys the tour of it. But that's one kind of little lesson that I learned myself too, and that's definitely leading into what we're going to be talking about today with the Loft Entrepreneur Co-Workspace. The space was vacant for a year, and it's killer space, as you guys will see next week. Old building, 15-foot high ceilings, brick walls. I mean, there's a bar, lounge. All the stuff was already here. We just moved in and created an opportunity. And once I started actually looking for it, once I knew that I could actually go out there and do that, it only took about a month for me to close that deal with this seller. And the big thing holding me back was exactly what we're going to talk about today. And I honestly wasn't expecting to do a call at all during this REItheme beta program on this. I thought this week's call was going to be something, tactical, something showing you guys how to do something with the website or online. But honestly, and I'm going to go ahead and hide the questions panel. So if you guys have questions throughout, just shoot them through. Every now and then I'll bounce out and look at the questions, because it doesn't let me look at the questions while I have my presentation open. But I'm just going to go ahead and remove that, and we'll go ahead and launch this. 1 second here. Okay. So, and welcome on in, Brian. Thanks for coming in, man. And what I was going with, Brian, I'm in my office, the Entrepreneur Co-Workspace that I started. Awesome 8,000 square foot spot. But I'm going to show you guys a tour of it next week. And without squashing what I'm going to go over today, I wouldn't have been able to do this. I wouldn't have been able to do a lot of things. But it's not just about me. So honestly, even yesterday, I wasn't going to do this presentation. I had a totally different presentation written. Going to do Q&A with y'all at the end, and a bunch of other stuff. But after a conversation I had with my brother, so Kyle, my brother, the guy you've been talking with a lot on the customizations, really smart young kid, and he's down in Los Angeles, just moved down there about a month ago, and I've been helping him get started in business, and he's working for me in the process. But he's extremely passionate about something. I'm going to talk about this here in a bit. And he was having problems. I hope he doesn't mind me sharing this, because he's not on this call. And he doesn't know I'm sharing this. But he was having some problems with pushing forward his business that he's passionate about. He's really passionate about the sports world. Has great connections in the sports world with professional athletes and agents, and helps them do social media and stuff like that. And has a clothing business, an athletic apparel business that he's just now starting to get off the ground. But the last 4 or 5 months, he really hasn't made it anywhere. And we got on the phone yesterday, and I was walking through some stuff with him. And the thing that was really stopping him from moving forward, and the thing that stops most real estate investors, most entrepreneurs from moving past the idea phase, moving past the inspiration phase, to actually seeing results, to actually getting deals done, to actually not just getting deals done, but living a fulfilled life, is they had something limiting their belief, something holding them back. And after I talked with Kyle, and I'll show you this here in a bit, I realized that this is exactly what I need to be doing the presentation on this week. We can do the rest of the content. Yeah, I'm still going to deliver on that stuff, but I feel that without this this call today, which I've been preparing for all day, I think everything else doesn't really matter at all. So this could be one of the most powerful content pieces, one of the most powerful 45 minutes or hours that you spend this year. Because this right here, ever since I started to learn this process I'm going to teach you, it's helped me do some pretty darn cool things. So before we dive into that, I know most of you on the call have already had your implementation appointments. There's a few that we haven't been able to have those with yet. So if we haven't had the implementation appointment with you, we've been trying to email you to get it set up. But email Kyle at support@REItheme.com, and let's get that set up, because we're going to hop on one-on-one on a call with you for an hour and blast through a ton of stuff on your website, the strategy. We'll get it going, and then the next week or two we're really going to hammer out your customizations on your site. So email us. Let's get that stuff going. And before we dive in, once again, we have some coolness. So one of our members, James Durkin, he's down in the Boca Raton area. So James is an investor and really insanely passionate guy. I love it. I love talking with him every time we do, and awesome stuff. So we took a screenshot of a search result this morning. So he's had his site up for what, a week, and he's ranked number 2 right now for Stop Foreclosure Now Boynton Beach. So that was within a week, and we did make a few customizations on his homepage with him. He dove in and updated it with video and put in his bio and pictures and stuff like that. So he's been moving quick, which is awesome. But he's ranked number 2 for this phrase. It's not crushed with traffic, but it does get searches and traffic, and it's a great starting point for him to then move on and get other search rankings that get more traffic as he goes. But we're going to go through and check everybody else's websites here in the next week as well, because I'm sure there's other great search rankings that you guys are getting that you don't even know yet, and that we don't even know yet because we haven't looked. We just happened to look at this one. So do know that the system works. This is just like the beginning of it, and what we're going to be going into over the next few weeks, especially how to create content on your website that's easy, that doesn't bog you down, that doesn't really take up much of your time, but helps you get more traffic and helps you become more of an expert in your area. That's something I'm going to go over next week. And that's really going to help you ramp stuff up. But this is the foundation. It's kind of exciting stuff. So there's a picture of me. This was a year and a half ago in Moab, Utah. And yeah, if you don't know much about me, I love the outdoors. Honestly, I need to get outdoors more often. It's a little bit more difficult now with the kids, but that's not an excuse. So my friend and I and his wife, we went down to Moab, Utah, and it's a really great place for mountain biking. And I love mountain biking. I don't get out enough, but I love it. And we have some awesome mountain biking here in Oregon. And one of the things I wanted to do when we were in Moab was there's some really tough stuff to go over. And here's a picture of my buddy going over this thing. Is called a stair step, or little tabletop. So if you're a mountain biker, you'll know what I'm talking about. But this is on a trail called Porcupine Rim in Moab, Utah. And Porcupine Rim is an insanely awesome trail. It's something like 27 miles from where we started, all downhill. A lot of it over stuff like this. A lot of it on sheer cliffs that are going 500 feet down, and a lot of it's some really cool stuff. But I'm not an expert mountain biker. I'm decent at it. But I saw my buddy Jake start to go over stuff like this, and we got back to the house that night. We went out to another trail, and there was a little tabletop, so something similar to this. It was probably about a 2-foot drop. And for someone who's experienced in mountain biking like Jake, that's no problem. They can motor right over it and make it look easy as heck. And I wanted to do it, so I talked to Jake and I said, "Hey man, I'm ready to go off this stair step. It's only like 2 or 3 feet." And he goes, essentially, here's what he said. He said, "I'm not going to teach you yet. I'm not going to teach you how to go off that kind of stuff yet," because he knew it was over my head. He said, "You'll end up crashing on your face, kind of like this guy in this picture." And the reason for that is I was really excited. I was excited to go off it. I knew I could do it. I'd never gone off anything like that before. Just my mindset, like in my mind, I'm like, man, I can do this. But I didn't have the skill. I didn't have the fundamentals yet to go over that and do it safely. And he said if I didn't have the mindset and the fundamentals, then I'd fall down and crash on my face like this guy did right here. So one thing that really ingrained in me, and this is something I learned a few years ago, but that experience really ingrained in me again, and I've had it happen multiple times since, was that you really need to master mindset and fundamentals. And I watched a video recently, this is a few weeks ago, from a friend of mine named Dane, and he was also one of the ones that inspired this presentation because he really ingrained some thought processes in me that helped me in my everyday life just in the last few weeks get even better at what I do and really squash my limiting beliefs and really get past some of the big things that have held me back from doing big things in some of the businesses that I'm running, especially locally. There's some cool stuff that we're wanting to do here locally with our Entrepreneur Co-Workspace and with the Young Entrepreneur Group, and we're starting an angel investment group. But I had these limiting beliefs, but I didn't really have the framework on how to squash them. So that's really what I'm going to be going over tonight is limiting beliefs and how to squash them. And once again, the big thing is that you must master both mindset and fundamentals. And most people, I even had some beta members, which it's not a big deal. We all do this, but most people always want to go after the tactics. They come to me saying, Trevor, how do I get more traffic? How do I increase conversions? How do I get ranked high in Google? How do I make more money? How do I have fun and a fulfilling life? You can name it. There's like a ton of tactics. How do I make an offer on a property? How do I fill out this contract? How do I do whatever? And I used to always give people those tactics because, number one, it was fun for me. And it's really fun teaching tactics like that because it's cool, it's fun, they get results. But what would happen almost every time was people would take those tactics away. So it could be the SEO tactic I taught in the webinar a couple of weeks ago, one of those SEO hacks. And people would take that tactic away, and maybe they would implement it, maybe they wouldn't implement it and get results. And then they'd always come back to me with their hand out, which is totally fine once again, but they'd come back looking for that next step. You'd come back saying, okay, I did that, now what next? And honestly, that really did kind of give me an ego boost because it's cool, it's fun helping people out, and it's fun teaching things that I know. But I got to thinking about it after I went through some experiences in the last few weeks, in the last few months, and that mountain biking experience, that just teaching tactics really isn't doing anyone a service. I really want to teach people how to fish. I don't want to give the fish out to where the people are reliant on someone else to be successful. So here's I really want to teach people that mindset first, because a mindset has to be coupled with the tactics and fundamentals. Here's a picture from, this would have been, 2 years ago now. Me and a group of 25 other entrepreneurs, we went down to Orlando, Florida. Some of the guys, one of the guys, now he's 27 years old. He was 25 at the time, and he just sold his company. You've probably actually heard of the company. It's called iContact. It's an email marketing service. He just sold his company this year for $180 million. And I learned a lot of things while networking with those guys for those 2 days. We did a skydive for charity, and we raised $120,000 for entrepreneurship in Tanzania. But one of the biggest breakthroughs I got during that 2 days with all those really kick-butt entrepreneurs was I sharpened my mindset even more. I don't remember learning one tactic during those 2 days from guys who, one kid sold his company to Google for $90 million. He was 22 years old 2 years ago. And with all these guys, I didn't learn one tactic. All they talked about, all the most successful people talked about was mindset. And that was a big, big turning point for me. Because the tactics can come easily. The mindset and the fundamentals and how to actually apply the tactics are the biggie. So what I'm going to walk you through today is really what I feel is the most powerful strategy for expanding your own personal mindset that I've ever found. And once again, this presentation is really inspired by a lot of experiences I've had over the last 3 years, and especially the presentation from my friend Dane that I watched that really concreted how to relay this information to other people, because that was the problem I always had. Was I could blast through some of my limiting beliefs, but I didn't really have a process for why I was doing it. Now I do, and just in the last 3 weeks alone, it's been really cool blasting through some limiting beliefs that have been holding me back in my business for a year or more. So that's what I really want to walk into. So here's some limiting beliefs that people have, things that you don't have. People say they don't have time to implement stuff. They don't have money. They don't have the experience. They don't have the ideas. And what we want to do is turn these into things that will fuel you, things that will fuel you to move forward and do great things instead of things that are limiting you. So what we're going to do is I want to walk through with you guys here today on how to identify your limiting beliefs. And everybody has limiting beliefs, no matter what level of entrepreneur you are. Richard Branson, who's a billionaire, I guarantee he has limiting beliefs that he continually has to confront, identify, and squash. He has to reverse them. And one of the big differences between successful people, like really, really successful people, and people who are always kind of stuck in that place where they're wondering why they're not successful yet or as successful as they want to be. One of the big differences, successful people are able to identify what is holding them back. And they're able to turn those around so they actually empower them rather than holding them back. So, excuse me. So we're going to go how to identify our limiting beliefs, and then I want to show you how to reverse those limiting beliefs. And there's an invisible force in the world that controls everything. It's something you can't see. It's something that most people don't talk about. And it's something that really holds people back, or it empowers people, once again, to do great things, or holds people back in their place where they're always sitting there going, man, it seems like I'm doing a lot of stuff, but for some reason I can't break through, or they're frustrated because they aren't as successful as they want to be. And it's this invisible force that controls everything. And that invisible force is what I've been mentioning. It's beliefs. And there's no such thing as a true belief. And this is kind of a mindset shift to make, because I know myself, I in the past I had got caught thinking, man, that belief that I think is true, or this is false. But really there are no true beliefs. There are no false beliefs. A belief is a belief, it's just a belief. It is what it is. There's only two types of beliefs. There's limiting beliefs, and there's empowering beliefs. There are no true beliefs or false beliefs. Because a belief is what you believe. Once again, it's not something that is written in stone somewhere that has to be true for everyone. If you believe that X, Y, Z, then that's what you believe. But now we need to learn how to turn those beliefs that are limiting us into beliefs that are empowering us. We can do great things. So, how do beliefs relate to business? That's one question that I get a lot when I talk with people about this, especially here in the Entrepreneur Co-workspace. And we've been having a lot of discussions on this the last few weeks with entrepreneurs here. And with that conversation with my brother yesterday, great example, which really hit home to me that we need to talk about this to help our REItheme members, and just to help entrepreneurs in general blast through those limited beliefs, so you can then go out there and use, of course, our REItheme system, or whatever it is that you're going to use to be successful. You can use that more effectively. So how do beliefs relate to business? And do any of these beliefs on this next page creep into your mind from time to time? So here's some traditional business beliefs. I'm going to hold on for a second while this delivery truck passes by. Okay, so here's some traditional business beliefs. And think of these as I'm saying them. Have you ever thought any of these in your mind? All of the good deals and ideas are already taken. You have to have money to make money. Or even having money makes making money much easier. You must be an expert in an area. So you must be an expert in real estate to be a successful real estate investor. Starting a business is risky and requires an element of luck. Starting a business requires you to sacrifice family and friends to succeed. Starting a business is a full-time job. I have to look professional to be successful. That's a big one that we get all the time. And of course, looking professional is a good thing, but you do not have to look professional to be successful. There's a lot of people that I know that prove that wrong, and it's crazy. No one will want to work with me because I'm not experienced yet. And bigger investors get all the best deals. These are traditional business beliefs, and some of them specifically real estate beliefs, that I've heard people tell me, and that I've myself had some of these. So how do you detect a limiting belief then? Like, because I just mentioned some that I know people have had, but how do you know if something is a limiting belief for you so you can even address it? So once again, going back to the traditional business beliefs, think about any of these. Do any of these run through your mind from time to time? What do these what do they make you feel like inside? So I'm just gonna bounce back to the next thing here. So bouncing over here, read these once again, go through them, think of them, even think of some things that aren't on this list that might be holding you back. If you experience any of these feelings, what do they feel like? And so, for instance, let's say you have a feeling of all of the good deals are getting snapped up by the big investors. When you say that, does that put like a knot in your stomach, kind of? Does it kind of make you feel a little bit nervous feeling inside, maybe subconsciously? Does it almost tighten your chest, or is there kind of a lump in your throat? Does it make you feel uncomfortable deep down when you think of that feeling? Or think of any feeling. You think of any feeling that you feel is holding you back, or is a reason why you aren't as successful as you want to be. If you're feeling any of those feelings at all, any feeling of uncomfortableness, of tightness in your stomach, tightness in your chest, nervousness, kind of sweating, lump in your throat, like just slumping down in where you're not as confident when you say those or think those types of things, do you experience those? And here's an example, because what we need to do is we need to take those feelings as cues. If you experience that feeling when you believe anything or when you say anything, boom, right there, you need to know that right there is a limiting belief. That feeling triggers to tell you that that is a limiting belief. And we need to turn that limiting belief around so it's an empowering belief now, so that can drive you forward instead of holding you back. So here's an example of a limiting belief and turning it around. And here's a really common one. I have to be experienced to have a private lender work with me. Is this something that you've thought before? It's something that getting funding for real estate deals is the biggest holdback and frustration for investors. And a lot of people think that they have to be experienced or they have to be extremely credible to have a private lender work with them. So how do we turn this around? How do you turn that belief, I have to be experienced to have a private lender work with me, into something empowering? Could it be turned around to something like, I have to be excited in the opportunity that I present, and I have to be excited in the opportunity that I am presenting to a private lender, and be honest and open with them in what our goals and what your goals are, and people will want to work with me. What if you were to switch it to that mindset instead of, I have to be experienced to have a private lender work with me? What if I have to have excitement and passion and confidence in the ability to talk with someone, to find out their goals, to see if there's a fit, to see if the private lender will want to work with me. That feeling right there feels way different when I say that versus I have to be experienced to have a private lender work with me. I almost feel defeated when I say that. So let's go through. There's 5 simple questions, and like I said, I'm not going to take a ton of time on this webinar because it's one really simple topic, but it's a really powerful thing. And this is something, honestly, that has changed my life over the last few years. I read this book originally. It's called Loving What Is. It's by an author called Byron Katie. I read the book a little while back, and then in the video that my buddy Dane put out, he really cemented this process in my mind and really made me go back and reflect on how that book impacted my life. Because asking these simple questions in the last several years has really impacted my life in a big time. And if we can ingrain this into our everyday thought process, how do we identify a belief that's limiting? And how do we reverse that belief so it's empowering? There's 5 simple questions. And I really highly suggest going to Amazon, get that book, Loving What Is, 4 powerful questions that'll change your life. So once again, going back to that example with my brother, My brother Kyle, the guy you've been working with, he has a website. He's had it up for 6 months or so. It's called REItheme. So REIthswag.com. And it's a passion project for him. It is making money. It's making sales, but it's not anything that can be a full-time income for him yet. And he's really passionate about sports, about the athletic lifestyle, about design, about all that kind of stuff. And we got on the phone yesterday once again, and I was asking, man, Kyle, why aren't you moving forward with these goals that we talked about a month ago, 2 months ago? And excuses, that he had, or not even excuses, beliefs that he had were, well, you know what? I had this problem with my pay-per-click campaign, and this problem with my shopping cart, and I had to change up my logo a little bit because I didn't think the logo looked professional enough, and I couldn't find the right web guy, like all these different things. And I was talking with him, and we went through these 5 questions that I'm going to take you through. And by the end of it, I get tagged on a Facebook post. You can see that thing says yesterday. I took the screenshot today. And once again, I don't think my brother knows I'm putting this on here, but my brother puts this on there. It says, Trevor Mock needs to go on a tour as a motivational speaker, blah, blah, blah. He has a knack for finding that missing link that recreates motivation. Those last 2 words are what excited me, and it made the entire hour-long conversation with Kyle worth it. Recreates motivation. And what my response to that was, it's a knack for asking the right questions and letting you refine that motivation yourself. Because most of the time we have the answers, we just don't know how to ask the right questions. So that's what we're going to go through, is what questions we need to ask ourselves. So we can go through this process with ourselves, find that motivation, recreate that motivation like Kyle had yesterday, blast through some of those limiting beliefs. And with Kyle, the reason he didn't have that motivation the last 3 months was because he had these limiting beliefs weighing him down so much that he wasn't excited about doing the project anymore at all. And after we had this conversation, squash these limiting beliefs. He's on fire right now. He's got a 90-day plan, and we're going out, and we're going to be working on creating a really cool business with ASWAG in the next 120 days. And I hate to say it, I'd love to have Kyle work with me forever with REItheme, but my goal is to get him to where he's working full-time in his business that he loves to do. And once again, that wouldn't have happened if he wouldn't have been able to recreate that motivation by just answering the questions that I asked him. So once again, here's some limiting beliefs that I've already heard from a lot of real estate investors just in the last month, a few REItheme members. There's nothing wrong with it. That's the thing. We all have limiting beliefs. It's just a matter of whether we know how to identify those limiting beliefs and squash them. That you have to have a good domain to get traffic, to get leads, or to do deals with website. You have to have a solid logo before you can get a website or actually start driving marketing to it. That you have to have a business plan before you actually start investing or start any kind of business. That you have to have that you even have to have a website to be successful. A lot of people think you have to have a website to be successful. That your company can't run without you. That's one that I myself had. And just within the last year, I've really reversed that limiting belief and brought on a great team to work with me, because I really thought that the company could not run without me. And whenever I'd go on vacation, I was always thinking about business. And once I was able to reverse that limiting belief, it's been a whole new world. I need to have total control over my business, over what's in my business. Once again, this is one that I had myself, and I know a lot of people have. Because a lot of entrepreneurs like you and me, we're not really type A, but we're really driven. And we might be really detail-oriented, and we know what we like to see in our business, and we think that for some reason, nobody else can do it as good as we can. And that's totally a limiting belief. A huge one that I had. Huge one. So those beliefs that I just mentioned are all limiting. So what we're going to do is just right now, just take 30 seconds. And if you can write down the limiting beliefs that are holding you back that you can think of right now. Just write some down. Write 3, 4, 5 limiting beliefs down. It could be anything. It could be, I talked with Jimmy. He's on this call. He's a young kid, 21-year-old kid in college, and he's starting his investment company, and he's getting moving. And one big limiting belief that I had when I was Jimmy's age when I bought my first property, a fourplex, a 4-unit property, using almost none of my own money. I used $600 of my own cash. That was about all I had in my bank account. A huge limiting belief I had at that time was that people wouldn't take me seriously because I was young. And once I was able to reverse that, I bought my first property within 3 months. Another huge limiting belief, just being open myself with you guys to kind of get your brains running. Another huge limiting belief that I had, once again right around that same time, was that I had to have money to do real estate deals. And I didn't have any money. So you can imagine the weight that puts on your shoulders. You can imagine how defeating that feels when you have this belief that essentially puts a roadblock between you and your goals. And for me, that belief was, I don't have any money, and you have to have money to do real estate deals. So there's no way I was going to do a real estate deal if I carried on with that belief. So I reversed it. And same thing. It all happened simultaneously. I did that first deal when I was 21 years old with only about $600 of my own money. I had the seller carry back most of the note, brought in a private lender for down payment, done deal. I still own that property today. So write down some limiting beliefs that you have, and then we're going to walk through these 5 questions because I want to help you squash these limiting beliefs. And honestly, almost every day now, I go through these 5 questions in my mind. Almost every day. Because every day there's something that creeps up in my mind. And I think all of us, we have something that creeps up that's somewhat limiting our belief in something. One limiting belief I had yesterday, that literally yesterday I walked through this 5 question process and squashed this belief, was at the loft. I was always worried that whenever we held our entrepreneur meetup, so we have a young entrepreneur group here in town that I started about a year ago, and it's all grown by word of mouth. We have about 72 members now, and this is a small town. This is a town of 30,000 people. And our meetup last month, we had 30 people that showed up this thing, which is a lot for us. But I always had a limiting belief that for some reason people wouldn't show up, and if people wouldn't show up, that would reflect on me that people didn't like me, right? Which is, I mean, that's totally bogus, but that was in my mind. And my assistant Jen, she came into my office. We're planning stuff for our entrepreneur meetup for this next month, for October. And it just happens where our entrepreneur meetups are always on the last Wednesday of the month, which this month it's on Halloween. So Jen came to me and said, hey, let's do a Halloween party. And my initial thought, the first thing that creeped through my mind was, let's just cancel our meetup this month because I don't want to have a Halloween party and invite a bunch of people and only have 4 people show up. That would reflect to where people don't like me. Which once again, that's totally limiting belief. But I went through this 5 question process that we're going to go through. And right there in front of Jen, we went through it together. And I said, Jen, honestly, this is what went through my mind. Great idea, but I didn't want to do it. And now I reverse this belief. Let's move the meetup to Tuesday, the day before. And what's the reverse of people won't want to come? The reverse is people will be so excited to come to this party that they'll come, they'll have a blast, and they'll come back again and again and again for entrepreneur meetups, which will fuel the entire growth for our group. So what we're doing now is instead of having this fear-based marketing approach of not wanting to market hard because we're afraid that not very many people will come, we're going to market the heck out of it. We're going to make the most fun event in the entire area on Tuesday, and we're going to make it killer. And already that day, we had some really, really cool stuff lined up, and stuff is happening. I never would have done that if I didn't reverse that belief. So let's go. So we're going to run through this example through the 5 questions. And once again, this is like the biggest holdback that I have found from most investors. And once again, I myself have gone through this, that I have to have money and experience to close good real estate deals. And this may or may not be a limiting belief that you have. But once again, what's that feeling? What feeling do you have if you believe that you have to have money and experience to close good real estate deals, and you don't have either of those? I mean, the belief is, once again, it's pushing you down, it's weighing you down, it's hampering all of your actions, whether you know it or not. It's subconscious. and you're not pushing things forward, but you're wondering why you're not pushing things forward. It's because of this belief. So question number one, what you want to do first is ask, is this belief true? Is this belief true? And all of our first responses is, yeah, of course it's true, because that's our belief. I believe that, right? Of course we're going to answer, yes, it's true most of the time. So the second question, is this belief without a shadow of a doubt true? Like, is there any remote chance in the entire world that one person in this world has proven that belief wrong? Is there any possibility that one person in this world has done a real estate deal with no experience and with no money? And of course, now that we ask that question, the obvious answer is yes. I mean, for me, that was a belief that I had, and I myself went out and did the real estate deal, the first one with no experience, with no money. So that right there is a real world experience. I know countless people, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, just myself, who have done the same thing. So you know that this belief is not a real belief then. You know it's not true, right? So question number three, how does this belief make you feel? So if you believe that, if you believe that you have to have experience, that you have to be really experienced, and you have to have money in order to get the best, to do the best real estate deals, how does this make you feel? For me, that made me feel, it made me feel totally unempowered. It made me feel like I'm doing all this research, all this learning, but I can't do a deal because I don't have this stuff. So I'm just going to go back and do some more learning, do some more research until I magically get experience and get money. And we know that that never would have happened. It just won't happen. So how does this belief make you feel? And if you have a different belief, that's a big belief that's limiting you, as we're going through this, walk that belief through these 5 questions as we're going through them. If you have this same belief that I mentioned to you that I had, and that a lot of people have, let's keep going through this. So how does that belief make you feel? So once again, to trigger, to know that this is a limiting belief, you're going to feel something. It's going to feel weird. It's going to feel almost gloomy. It's going to feel, you might have like a physical reaction, a tightness in your stomach, chest, your throat, something like that. Maybe it's just an emotional reaction where you just feel defeated. So how does that make you feel? And this right here is something that was something that would go through my mind. If I only had money, if I only had a $300,000 sitting around where I could just write checks, I'd be successful in real estate. That was something that went through my mind. And that's something that goes through a lot of investors' minds. If I only had money, I'd be successful in real estate. And that feeling sucks. It's not fun. That's not a place that you want to come from to be working in every day. That's not a place that you want to come from to try to be successful, to try to provide for your family, to try to live up to your own expectations. Because I think we all have bigger expectations for ourselves than other people do for us. And when we have a thought like that, that's like the worst feeling ever. Like the worst feeling ever that you know in your mind, or you believe in your mind, that you cannot do something because you don't have something. That feeling is terrible. So question number 4, what would the opposite thought be? And this is where the real magic comes. I'm going to grab a drink of water here real quick. So question number 4, what would the opposite thought be? So what would the opposite thought of you have to have money and experience to do real estate, to get the best real estate deals? What's the opposite thought? It could be something like, I can find the money and I can leverage others' experience to find those best real estate deals. Or the money will come to me when I find great real estate deals. Those were things that I had to do. Those were thoughts that I passed through my mind when I was 21 years old to get that deal done. Because I before that point, I had never had the confidence to go up and ask a seller to say, hey, I'm 21 years old, never bought a property, have no business experience, I have no money in my bank account. Will, will you carry back a note and trust that I don't burn down your property? Yeah, I didn't have that confidence. But once I changed that mindset to once I find a great deal with the right person, the funding will take care of itself. And it did. I went out there, found a bunch of properties, talked to 10, 15 sellers, and found this one seller that was willing to carry back a note because he was in a position where he was going into retirement, didn't want to take care of properties anymore, but wanted the cash flow. So he carried back a note. I said, okay, we got that taken care of. But he said, but, so you have some skin in the game, I need $10,000. And then another limiting belief popped through my head. I don't have 10,000 bucks. So what did I think? Okay, this is a great deal. How do I get that 10,000 bucks? The $10,000 will happen because this is a great deal. And it did. It took me a few days to round up $10,000 in private money at the time, which I had no clue what the term private money was. I just knew I needed $10,000. It was all. And I found it. So what would the opposite thought be of that limiting belief? And then number 5, what does that opposite thought make you feel? Or how does that opposite thought make you feel? So now we've walked through that whole progression. First of all, we're identifying these limiting beliefs. We know that they're a limiting belief because they make us feel weird. It's just not a good feeling. It makes you feel heavy. It makes you feel not empowered at all. It makes you feel trapped sometimes. And then we identified it. We're reversing that thought. So, okay, what is the reverse of that thought? And now what's the opposite feeling? So the opposite is I feel light, I feel excited, I feel enthusiastic, I feel like I can go out there and rule the world. And that right there is what fuels you to then go out there and crush it. That right there, the questions number 4 and 5 are what is going to completely reverse that belief for you. And you need to remember that feeling. You need to remember this feeling right here of what that empowering belief, what the empowering belief makes you feel like. And always think of that. It's crazy. It's magic. It's awesome. But then you also might think, well, shoot, you know, here's this empowering belief. The empowering belief is that the money, you know, if I find a great deal, that the funding will take care of itself. Well, shoot, then little red flags might pop up. Well, you know, I don't want any partners. I don't want any partners for that deal. I don't think people will take me seriously, you know, to get that money. So I find this good deal. You know, I don't think people will take me seriously to get the money. Now, I can't make offers without funding. So I find that great deal. I can't even make an offer without funding first. You know, where I don't know where to go to find them. I don't know where to go to find the private lenders or the people that can actually fund the deal. So if you see these little red flags pop up after you reverse that limiting belief, then these are a deeper set of core limiting beliefs that are pulling you down. So you need to take these ones through that same process. You know, through the exact same 5 questions, reverse them to really power through things. It's a powerful, powerful process, guys and gals. I mean, don't take this lightly, because this literally right here has changed my life. It's changed the life of a lot of people, because mindset is a big thing. A lot of us go out there trying to learn the fundamentals. We try to learn the tactics. We try to learn how to, you know, put together this really cool. Move my microphone closer to me one sec. You know, we try to figure out how to put together this cool marketing piece, or how to do the SEO on our website, and how to do X, Y, Z, all this kind of cool stuff. How to do a proper inspection or analyze a deal. All that stuff's important. Those are tactics. But without fundamentals and mindset, none of those tactics will matter. I was living proof of it for over a year. I knew all the tactics, knew all the fundamentals. I didn't have the mindset. Some people are the opposite. They have the mindset, but they don't have the fundamentals or tactics. So they need to keep that mindset, squash whatever limiting beliefs they have, and go out and learn the fundamentals that will get them to the very next step. You never want to learn 5 steps ahead. You always want to learn. I heard the phrase somewhere from someone, I can't even remember, but it's called just-in-time learning instead of just-in-case learning. And I think a lot of us, we're all guilty of it. we'll get an email from someone, from some guru, and there'll be a big old video in there, whatever it is. And we think, man, it's a new strategy. Okay, I'm going to click through and I'll learn it just in case I need to use it someday. But just in case learning is what holds people back. Just in case learning is what we do when we don't know what to do, when we don't have a clear plan of action, when we don't feel inspired ourselves or confident because we have limiting beliefs holding us back to go out there and do things. So change our educational patterns to just-in-time learning. So you only learn and you only seek out the knowledge that you need to learn to take care of that very next step in whatever your goal is. So if you're looking to get a multifamily property and you don't have any yet, don't start studying up on how to manage tenants yet. We need to figure out first how to even find these multifamily properties that are a good deal and how to get them funded. And then once we find the deal, then go learn, okay, what do I need to do to inspect this thing right and analyze the deal right? And then once you analyze the deal, then go figure out, well, heck, what do I need to do now to find the right contractors to repair this stuff? So don't learn it all at once. Switch our learning processes to just-in-time learning from just-in-case learning. And a last one, I don't know about the SEC stuff. This is a big holdback from people on the private lending side of things, that they're scared of the SEC, which it's definitely something that you don't want to take lightly. But the reverse of that is I can hire great attorneys to guide me through the SEC process. But then maybe, like going further, maybe there's another little red flag that pops up. Well, shoot, I don't have the money, or I don't want to spend the money to hire an SEC attorney. What do you do there? You reverse that into something else and keep on going through those 5 seconds, those 5 questions. And really, the feeling that you want to get, and this is a quote from Dane. I love the quote, and he probably borrowed it from someone else. But if it feels light, it feels right. And I like that. So if you can think of something, a belief that you have, and it feels light, it feels really good, it feels like you're empowered, then you know that's right. That is the right belief. And the really cool thing is, as you walk through these 5 questions, for me, I can feel the transition in my body happen. I can feel myself go from feeling pushed down, from feeling trapped, to feeling light and empowered and excited. It's just an amazing, amazing process. So what we really want to work toward is we want to live from an empowered belief state of mind. Most people live their entire lives from the limiting belief state of mind. And once again, that's no fun. That sucks. It's not fun at all. It zaps your energy. It zaps your motivation. It zaps your happiness. It kills your lifestyle. It kills your health. It kills all kinds of stuff. So if we can really work this into our everyday process, it's huge. Live from that empowered belief state of mind every single day. And the way that we do that is by knowing how to identify our limiting beliefs, how to reverse them, and then always keep that reverse, the empowering belief in your mind. So have you identified some of your own limiting beliefs yet, just as we've been talking through this? I'm sure some of the things we've talked about might resonate with you, that you're like, yeah, those things are limiting beliefs for me. I'm sure there's other things that are in your mind that are like, yeah, these are things that hold me back. And there's things that you'll come across every single day. Because I do. We all do. We all have beliefs that limit us. But now you've got the tool, you got the process to turn those around and really crush it and just live with an empowered mindset, which is awesome. So a quick little challenge to you. And of course, this is a small group. There's not 100 people on here. I think we have about half of the beta members on here because there were some time conflicts. But a challenge. Post 1 or 2 of your limiting beliefs in the chat box. Or if you're watching the replay of this, post it in the comments area below this video. And I'd really love to help turn them around. And so here's some things that you need to do to think of limiting beliefs. So think of the question, what do I want to accomplish? This could be health-wise, getting in shape. That's something that I'm going through right now because I've always been an athlete. I love active stuff. And being honest, I kind of trapped myself in the last 6 months to a year. I kind of trapped myself because I was working hard. And we had our little baby boy, and I was trying to get stuff done work-wise before he came. and I wasn't working out as much, not any really. And that's something I'm going through right now, is squashing that limiting belief, because what I want to accomplish is I want to feel insanely energized. I want to feel strong. And I want to feel like any day, like any time during the day, I can hop on my bike or I can do whatever, and I can do a physical activity to my full extent, to my full potential, without having to feel tired or without not doing it. There's been times where I haven't done it because I thought, man, I know when I get to the top of that mountain, I'm just going to be tired as heck. Not going to be worth it. So that's one thing I'm working on right now. And there's some limiting beliefs that I have that are holding me back for some reason to getting back in my workout routine. So what is that you want to accomplish? It could be in real estate. It could be in life. It could be in anything. And then the first step is to identify them. And a second question is, why haven't I accomplished that yet? And this is really where you start to find some of those limiting beliefs that you can then examine. And what beliefs are stopping you? So once again, why haven't I accomplished that yet? The thing that you want to accomplish. And then really start to think, what beliefs are stopping me from doing that? If you're wanting to get into multifamily, why are you not in multifamily now? What beliefs do you have that are stopping you from doing that now instead of 2 years down the road? I was on a one-on-one call with an REItheme member today, and we got quickly into the multifamily chat because he's from Texas. I have a buddy who's in Texas. His name is Carlos, and Carlos owns a company where he is a multifamily investor now. But he started his company in 2008 with no multifamily experience. He'd done some single-family stuff, but no multifamily stuff. And he made the decision one day. He made the decision to move from Boston, where he lived, to move from Boston. He went for 6 months. He did insanely detailed research on the entire country, on the top 10 multifamily markets. He showed me his binders. He had 3-inch binders full of research on each one of those 10 markets. He had 10 binders. And he showed me those binders. And he said he narrowed them down to 2 markets, Washington, D.C., the Virginia area, and Dallas, Texas. He ended up picking up and moving. He made a decision, I'm not just going to dip my toes into multifamily and see if it works. He said, I'm going to acquire 2,000 units within 2 years, and I'm moving to Dallas to start fresh to do this because it's the best market in the U.S. for me. Now, do you have to pick up and move across the country to be successful? No. He didn't have any kids at the time, so that was something there. But same thing, having children not moving, that's a limiting belief there too. So you need to identify that and see if that's something that is holding you back or not. Because I have a lot of friends who they don't travel because they think their kids are going to make the trip miserable. My wife and I, we travel all the time. And yeah, we have some setbacks with the kids crying in the airplanes, and we're those people sometimes that people look at in the airplane because they have a crying kid, but we're also extremely happy and fulfilled because our children get to check stuff out, and we still get to travel while they're young. And that just took us squashing a limiting belief that some of our friends have. So long story short, Carlos went from single family. Once again, he picked up, moved to Dallas. Within 2 years, once again, starting from scratch, he had no credibility in multifamily at all. He had just done some rehabs for someone else's real estate investment company up in Boston. Within 2 years, he had acquired 1,800 units. So he almost hit his goal. Now, so he started this in 2008, or about 4 years later. Now he's acquired almost 3,000 units, multifamily units, all in Texas. Over $60 million in transactions, starting with none of his own money, just a burning desire to get something done, and he was able to squash the limiting beliefs of all I have done up to this point is multifamily, or all I've done up to this point is single family. No one's gonna take me seriously when I want to buy a 200-unit building when I've never bought one before. All it is squashing his limiting beliefs. So what beliefs are stopping you? And think of those limiting beliefs, write those down, and once you know, take them through those 5 questions we just went through. and it's insanely empowering once again. And that's why I wanted to dive into this on today's call, because I mean, you guys didn't sign up for, you know, a personal growth class. I understand this, and honestly, I had no clue I was even going to do this during these 4 weeks. It's something I wanted to add in because I feel it's important, because it was important to me. It was something that changed my life, and something that has changed a lot of people's lives. And just having some one-on-ones with some of the members, you know, there's definitely some limiting beliefs out there, because everybody has them once again. So don't think that if you have a limiting belief, it's a weakness. It's not. What is a weakness is not admitting that you have limiting beliefs and not examining them and turning them around. So it really takes courage and vulnerability to confront these beliefs. We don't want to believe that our own mind is holding us back. We always want to believe that there's some external force that's making us not successful, or that's making us not reach our goals. We never want to believe that it's our own mind. It really takes courage and vulnerability to confront those beliefs. So if some people, once again, there's only a handful of people on this call, and I'm not going to call anybody out, but if someone wants to be courageous and a little bit vulnerable, I think it'd be a really cool exercise to walk through this process and together squash one or two of your limiting beliefs. So I'm going to bounce out of this presentation. I've got a few more slides. Let me see here. Yeah, so I've got a few more slides, and we'll kind of go over what is going to be happening in the next couple weeks. So I've got some really cool stuff for you. We've got some big changes that are going to be happening in the REItheme platform just from the feedback you guys have given us already. So that's huge, and we really appreciate all the feedback. I'm going to tell you about some of these big changes here in a bit, and when some of these bonuses are going to be coming out to you, so we can start plugging them into your websites. But I would like to bounce out, and I'm just going to go through the questions panel. And like I said, guys and gals, I mean, I totally didn't plan. I'm reading some of these comments now. It's funny. Patricia said at the beginning with that mountain biking picture of the stair step at the Porcupine, she said, Porcupine Ridge, she said, "You must be better than decent to do this. I know I mountain bike." I'm decent. I'm not good. My buddies are way better than I am, like extremely better. But same thing. I have my own limiting beliefs probably in mountain biking even that are holding me back. So I need to go through next time I'm mountain biking, I need to go through and examine, okay, what is it that's holding me back from doing this? And I need to figure that out. Okay, cool. So awesome stuff in here, guys. I'm gonna scroll right down to the bottom, and I'm gonna go back to some of the questions up at the top. Lou, awesome. Same with me. I mean, once I was exposed to this kind of thinking, it opened up my world. It totally opened up my world. So Lou is saying it's great stuff, especially for people who haven't been exposed to this way of thinking. And that's the thing is, you know, we're all born with a clean slate on our minds. We're all born with a clean slate. And then over the years, we adopt stuff. We adopt certain beliefs, certain patterns, certain practices. And a lot of those times, those beliefs that we adopt do not serve us in a good way. A lot of times those beliefs that we adopt hold us back. A lot of people have a belief about success, about money. Luckily for me, I'm just really fortunate in this aspect that I grew up in a family of abundance. We might not have had a lot of money sometimes. I remember when I was a kid, I don't remember how old it was, but I was old enough to remember that we were driving in a car, in my mom's car. It was me and one of my brothers and my mom. And I knew that my dad, he didn't have a job at the time because he was in between jobs. And my dad's like one of the most insanely driven guys, one of the most high integrity guys, always happy-go-lucky. And my eyes are kind of starting to tear up here, but we were driving down the street, and I remember telling my mom, I said, because we're going to go to the store to get something, and she said, you know, Trevor, we can't get that right now because we just don't have that. We have to save some money. And she said, because your dad doesn't have a job right now, he's looking for a job. And I told her, that they could have all the money in my bank account. I had like $300 in my bank account at that time, whatever it was, from doing chores, from birthdays, stuff like that. And I told her, hey, you guys can have it, and that's just kind of and of course she said no, they wouldn't take it. And that's just the mindset that I grew up in, is we always felt really abundant, even if we didn't have money. And success was always a good thing. But some people grow up in households or around environments where success isn't a good thing. Where success is looked upon as a bad thing, as people who are successful or wealthy, rich, whatever you want to call them. You've heard the term filthy rich before. Filthy rich is a term that came to be because people were saying that people who had a ton of money were not good people. They're filthy. That's a mindset that a lot of people grow up with. So these are the things that we need to fight through on an everyday basis in real estate, in life, whatever business it is. Because I started out in college. I had a college professor, and this is where I really started wanting to learn to invest in real estate. I had a college professor who was an attorney, and he also invested in multifamily properties. That's where I got my idea to do it. So that's why I even had the spark to invest in real estate. But then from there, I invested in real estate in a way that fit my goal and my lifestyle at the time. And since then, I've started other companies and totally non-real estate related things. But in each one of those companies, I always had limiting beliefs that held me back until I squashed them. Even now, I still have some. So, Lou, yeah, thanks for the comment. So, Jimmy, awesome, man. Thank you big time for stepping up, for having the courage and being vulnerable enough to put a limiting belief of yours out here. So, if you don't mind, let's dive into it. Let's see if we can reverse it. You might have already reversed it in this process, but Jimmy, he's the kid he's 21 years old, and he's diving into the real estate game. He says, I don't know enough information to make this work, and I don't have enough time with my school, my other job, and my other obligations. And that's hugely valid, because that's something a lot of people go through. That's something a lot of people, they have to keep their job. Most people keep their day job while they're trying to get started in real estate. And that's always something that's out there is man, I can't do this. I don't have time. I come home. I've heard this countless times from real estate investors where they're looking for free information from me, and a lot of people aren't willing to help themselves. They want a tactic. Once again, these people are looking for a tactic. What they need is a mindset shift. And I've heard the question a lot of times where, man, I've got a full-time job. I come home, I'm tired, and it's time to hang out with the kids. Then I'm so tired, I go to bed. I've only got like 1 hour a week where I can even do anything. That's on a Sunday. So they're expecting themselves to be successful when they themselves are planting a limiting belief on themselves that they have no time and that you have to spend a lot of time to be successful. But what if you flip that around? And this is going to kind of go in with yours, Jimmy. So this limiting belief that you had has a few parts. So I don't know enough is one. I don't have enough time is a second. So I guess there's two. So to squash the time one, let's flip that around. I guess first of all, ask the question, is this true? Like, has anyone ever in the world been going to school and had a job, or even had 2 jobs and had kids and started and been successful in real estate? Of course, the answer to that is yes. I mean, there's probably been thousands and thousands and thousands of people who have been going to school full-time, have had a job, other obligations, and they've been successful in real estate. So that right there shows, okay, obviously this isn't true. And then we go to the second question once again. So the second question, I guess that was the second question, is it beyond a shadow of a doubt true? And the third one, I'm going to have to bounce back up to these. How does this belief make you feel? And Jimmy hey Jimmy, would you want to do this, man? So it's interactive. Would you care if I turned your speaker on? Like, so you can just like talk instead of typing? That way it's a little more interactive. Okay, cool. Hope you guys don't mind we're doing this. I'm going over time a little bit. Jimmy.
Yeah.
Hey. Okay.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. So everybody's, the audio good? Is it echoing back to you at all, or is it good? Because sometimes when I turn my speaker on like that. It's good. Okay, cool. So first of all, man, thanks once again. Thanks big time for once taking that step and being vulnerable, being courageous, and doing this, because it's something that we all have to do. And really, if we can't step out and do it in front of other people, most of the time we're probably not even going to do it for ourselves. So awesome, man. So going through that time one, once again, let's just go through the 3 questions. And so the time one, you don't have enough time with your schoolwork, other job, and other obligations. Is this belief true to you?
Well, yeah, but number 2 makes it no.
Yeah, exactly. So this is the magic of the process. So number 2, once again, is this belief without a shadow of a doubt true? Or has there ever been anyone in the world that has proved this wrong?
Yeah, I'm sure there has.
Okay, so that opens up the possibility that you can do it. Now it's not real. How does having that belief make you feel? Like when you think of that belief, you've got your schoolwork to do, you're trying to study real estate, you're trying to look at deals or whatever it is. How does having that belief of, man, I don't have enough time to do this, make you feel?
Discouraged, overwhelmed.
Perfect. And I've gone through the same thing. I think probably everybody on here has done the same thing. So, and that's when you feel discouraged and overwhelmed. I mean, we're not as focused then. We're not able to work as focused. We're not as excited about it anymore. We get stressed. Just things start to fall downhill. So, question number 4: what would the opposite thought of "I don't have enough time to be successful"? What would that be?
I can make time. I can start setting aside time to do it.
Yeah, totally that. You can even go further to where I can spend my current time better, so I have more time.
Okay.
That's something for me, like, is a biggie for me, because it's tough to make more time. You got 24 hours a day, right? So a lot of people like to say time management or whatever. You can't really manage time. Time's going to go by whether you manage it or not. We can use our time more effectively. So that's one thing, is flip that thought around. I have abundant time if I focus, if I have a plan, and if I'm passionate about my goals. You know, I mean, I'm not saying that is the thought that you should think, but that's something that comes through my mind. And when I say that, like, it excites me. So what does that thought do for you, like, inside? How does it feel?
It makes me excited. But obviously too, it makes me think, well, how can I go about doing that to use my time more effectively?
Yep.
Then that's more. I don't know if that's more tactical or if that's more of a limiting belief.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of both, because you have to learn some kind of tactics to help you work more effectively. But I think some of it is a limiting belief too. So for me, for instance, like, just speaking for myself, I've gone through this too, because especially with having kids, with the just turned 30 years old, and we just had our second kid. He's a month old, and that was a big excuse for me. Was, man, I can't spend all the time I want with my family and focus on my business and have it be successful like I want it to be. But flipping that around was, once again, what can I do with my time to where I'm doing it better? So for me, I went to bed earlier. We canceled our cable. I mean, instead of going to bed at 11 o'clock every night, because I learned that I don't really get a whole lot of productive work done at night anyway, which that's for me. A lot of people are really productive at night. So find more time. The time could be cutting out that recreation that you're doing once a week. It could be totally cutting out TV. Like I said, we canceled cable. We don't have cable, and I don't miss it at all. And cable for me, like, zapped time. I woke up earlier, so that was for me. Okay, how do I wake up earlier? I got to go to bed earlier, so I can get up before my kids are up, so I can get at least 2 hours of focused work in. So that's kind of where the belief thing comes in, and the tactical is really try to find some more time, and then try to find ways that you can work more effectively in the stuff that you're already doing that you have to do, like the schoolwork. So, and then last, once again, how does that thought make you feel? You already said it. It's excited, it's empowered, it's the whole thing. So I think just this framework, like, do you feel a little bit better, a little bit more empowered that now whenever you come across a challenge, you've got at least a framework that you can do to help you get past it?
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Thanks again, dude, for stepping up. I'm going to mute you out unless you have something profound to say.
No, that's fine.
All right, man. Thanks. Okay, cool. Thanks, Jimmy. Yeah, so Stuart's saying delegate the stuff. That's a great thing, Stuart. I can have. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. So, Jimmy, this goes for all of us. If we don't have time, how do we leverage other people's time to do stuff for us? So, leveraging time. Great example, because one of the first things that someone is going to say is, okay, I don't have money, or I don't want to spend money to delegate. I don't want to hire someone. I don't have the budget to hire someone. So here's something that you can flip that mindset around. Is I can find smart people who are motivated and who are excited to do great work by inspiring them and teaching them stuff. By educating them and helping them get what they want. So as an example, I did that this summer. I had a kid working for me 20 hours a week for 3 months for free. Really smart kid, like insanely smart kid in college as an intern. And there's college graduates all over the place who don't have jobs, but they have the passion, they have the knowledge. Find those kids who want to learn real estate. They'll do stuff for you for free. There's people out there that can help fill that time and do the stuff for you. So awesome point, Stuart. Cool, okay. Yeah, Stuart, great feedback. If anybody else has a limiting belief that you want to kind of blast through right now, if you want to step up, awesome. If not, I'm just going to go through these questions a little bit more. Perfect. Okay. Yeah. I'm looking back through some of these questions and stuff. A lot of them were midway through the webinar, so it's kind of funny looking at them now. Perfect. Yeah, Stuart, totally. My brother and I are setting up bi-weekly calls now. So, I mean, he had a massive, he had like 4 or 5 limiting beliefs that were massively holding him back. And as we got further through the conversation, I could feel his excitement pick up. I could feel his passion pick up again, which I hadn't heard in months. Just awesome stuff. Okay. Okay, so Patricia's got one on here. And Patricia, you can hop in and we can turn you on live if you want or not. That's totally cool either way. Okay, that's fine. So if you can type again, Patricia, what your limiting belief was, because I accidentally just now deleted it. I meant to delete this other one above it. So type in that limiting belief again, and we'll just go through it right now, because this is something that I know other people have the same one. And guys and gals, while Patricia's typing that one in again, once again, I want to thank you guys for coming on this call and trusting that it was going to be something good. Okay, I love it. So Patricia puts in what her limiting belief was before was something to the effect of, that I think it was something to the effect of age. The age was getting in the way. But now she put in here, it no longer applies. LOL. I'm not old enough to succeed. I love it. Okay, cool. So she went through that 5-step process and already squashed that limiting belief, which is awesome. And that's what I'm wanting, like, everyone to get out of this, because honestly, I like real estate. I'm not passionate about real estate. I like entrepreneurship. I'm definitely not passionate about software. Software is just an avenue for us to help people and to create a good business, for sure. But what I am passionate about is helping people bust through their own things so they can live a great life. Because I see too many people, I see way too many people, close friends and family, that I just see them in huge ruts, and I could tell that they're miserable. And just the littlest mindset shifts, They might even think that they are motivated. They might even think that they have passion. They might even think that they have all the skills and knowledge, or maybe that they need more skills and knowledge to be successful in something. But most of the time it's mindset, and it just pains me that people live a life where you feel trapped, where you feel like you're not good enough, where you feel like you can't achieve what you want to achieve because of thoughts. You know, I mean, it's our own thoughts that are holding us back, not real stuff. So that's why I did this call. We'll on the next calls, we'll dive back into actual tactical stuff again. Next week, we're going to go over blog post stuff. So I'm just going to go back here. So what should you really be doing this week is, once again, let's get your site set up. There's some people who we haven't had a chance to have the one-on-one appointments yet. Email us at support@REItheme.com. Let's get that one-on-one appointment set up, because that's really, really important. And there's a couple people we haven't even got the site set up yet because we haven't heard back from you on the URL. So please get us that info so we can help you. And then identify and reverse your 3 biggest limiting beliefs this next week. And please, please, you might write those 5 questions down, put them in your pocket, put them on the wall, whatever it is. Write them down until you memorize them, or at least until you memorize the process. So every day when you're doing stuff, like I did yesterday with Jen in my office with our Halloween party, the belief creeped in my mind, and immediately I said, okay, this is not happening. And then Jen and I sat there, we went through the 5 questions in like 30 seconds, and then bam, I felt better, and now we're pushing forward with something. That's the power of the system. So let's do that. Let's focus on that. Let's focus on the website side of things. You already have an action plan from us. And Mac, if you're still on here, man, I don't know what happened on our call today, but like right at the hour point, I couldn't hear you anymore. I saw that you were on, but I couldn't hear you, so I kept talking for about 5 minutes. Didn't hear anything. I recorded it for you if you want to watch it. I really didn't go into anything at the end of it. Kyle's going to connect with you. If you can get Kyle that email that we talked about, cool. We're going to push forward with stuff. Okay, so Patricia's got a recommendation. There's a wonderful CD I listen to over and over, which you could share with the group. It's by George Zalaki, and called Mindset and Emotion. It's wonderful. So yeah, I mean, that's something we should all be working into our lives every day, is mindset, getting our mindsets right. So Mindset and Emotion by George Zalaki. You guys might want to check it out on Google. Yeah, Brian, we've actually sent everybody about 3 emails, and for some reason it looks like some people aren't getting them, or your email box is filtering them out. But yeah, email Kyle at this email address, support@REItheme.com, and we need to get the one-on-one appointment set up with you, so we can dive in, get the process rolling, and then after that, it'll be about a week or 2, we'll get your websites pounded out. So a couple things in the next couple weeks. Once we can get the sites up and customized, work with you to make it your own. We're going to get the rest of the bonus training up, so we're going to do the blog one next week, because we've had some questions from people going, okay, I know the importance of new content on my website for SEO, but I have no clue what to write about. I don't know what to write about. I think it would take too much time. Same thing. I went through all those same thought processes, and I went through the limiting beliefs thing. I found people and created systems to write our content quicker. So I'm going to show you guys those things next week on how you almost never have to think about what you write. We're going to help you create a content plan that'll work for you, and I'm going to help you create a content plan that'll help you get more traffic, not just put stuff on your website. So that's going to be next week. The people who got in quick enough to get the Facebook page, that's probably going to be another 2 weeks out, because there's no reason to do the Facebook page until we get your website 100% where you want it. So that 2 weeks out, a month out, whatever. And yeah, just over this time, just hit us with questions. So let me plow through the rest of these questions. Then I got to go and get back to my wife and kids who are a little bit sick. So yeah, Brian, hit up Kyle. Cool, hit up Kyle with all that stuff. Support@REItheme.com. Perfect. Thank you, guys and gals. If you wouldn't mind, if you wouldn't mind, please do this for me as a favor. Because once again, I don't do personal growth stuff like that often, but I love it because it's impactful. If you can email me personally, this is my email address. Email me at that and tell me how this session impacted you, please. What it did for you, how it opened up your mind, what you feel like now that you have this system that you can use in your life every day, what you feel like now with your goals, how much easier your goal is going to be to achieve now that you have this thought system. Email me, please. And just please tell me that feedback. If you hated it, tell me you hated it. I don't care. Just please tell me your feedback. Email that to me tonight while you're thinking about it. I really love to hear your feedback like that, and it really fuels me. So thank you guys. I'm gonna head out. Okay, yeah, Stuart, good suggestion. So if you can shoot me an email with that, I'll put that in a little list of stuff. So great, guys. Thank you very much. This recording will be up tomorrow, and if you want more stuff like this, let me know. Because I've got a couple other things that are just mind-bending. It's amazing. They've done some amazing things for me in my life and for people that I know on the mindset side of things. If you like more stuff like this, I can do more stuff like this. But of course, we are going to push forward with the beta program as it was marketed and as you purchased it. This other stuff will just be bonus. So thanks, guys. Have an awesome night, and we'll talk soon.
The organizer has ended the session, and this call will be disconnected. Goodbye.